So the journey of the holistic progress card, 360-degree holistic progress card, it started with the National Education Policy 2020.
Formal feedback or casual conversation?
So as a teacher, I have to shift from my comfort.
How could it be possible in that 40-minute periods and let's say 210 or 180 days that I can evaluate all the competencies which are mentioned on the top of those activity section in the HPC?
Now, what we are saying is, given this curricular goal and the competencies, we need to frame the learning outcome.
Most underrated skill in students today. HPC in one word. Hello and welcome to RDIS Unplugged, the official podcast of Rukmini Devi Institute of Advanced Studies, where we unplug the noise and tune into what truly matters. I am your host Rajni Mahajan, assistant professor at RDIS, a passionate explorer at heart. In today's conversation, I am joined by someone whose influence and leadership have touched classrooms across India, helping bring the vision of NEP 2020 to life through the 360-degree assessment framework we now know as Holistic Progress Card via meaningful dialogues with educators, system leaders, and stakeholders across states. It's an absolute honor to welcome Professor Indrani Baduri, CEO and Head Parak on Educational Survey Division NCRT. Professor Indrani, welcome to RIS Unplugged. To begin with, could you walk us through the journey of NCF since inception till today?
Okay. So the journey of the holistic progress card, 360-degree holistic progress card, it started with the National Education Policy 2020. Like we all know that the National Education Policy 2020 is a very transformative policy. And regarding assessment, it talks about how we should make the shift from rote memorization to competency based, how we should minimize the summative assessment and focus more on formative assessment. So, for making this shift from rote memorization to competency, from summative to formative, and how just not the cognitive domain is important, but also the person social domain, the physical domain. So, how all this we can assess and get a holistic understanding about the development of the child. For this, we worked on the holistic progress card. We began when NEP 2020 came out, and it talked about 360-degree holistic assessment. We had dialogues with the states. We called all the states and the union territories, and we tried to understand from them that what is it that they would like to see in this 360-degree holistic progress card. So from their feedback, we went back, we spoke to we interacted with the students, we interacted with the teachers, we also interacted with some of the parents. Then all these from the interaction, whatever insights we could get, we tried to make it into some document form. And then we also discussed it with the experts. We again, after making the document, we again went back to the states that, look, this is what the holistic progress card, the draft would look like. Do you agree to it? Do you still feel that there are certain gaps? So they again said, no, maybe perhaps, you need to remove this and add that. So we again took their suggestion, we discussed with the experts, we took the suggestions that were important, that we thought, yes, needs to be incorporated, and we added those. Then we again went back to the states and told them that, look, this is the one that we have come out with. We would like you to try it out in the district. So the states and the union territories, they tried it out in the districts. We said at least try it out in 5 districts, and take the rural district and the urban district also. And then from the feedback that we got, we went through all of it, and finally now we have come out with a holistic progress card. So it has been a very iterative process, a lot of back and forth, and it is not that only the experts have sat together and developed it. It has actually emerged from the grassroots.
Wonderful, ma'am. And as I can listen to that journey, and it is giving me goosebumps also, that what all goes into it. But in this whole process, I'm sure there might be some teachers, like in our circle, sometimes we ponder upon this question, that how we can observe creativity, awareness, and sensitivity, which is mentioned in all the 4 stages holistic progress, without making it feel like another checklist.
We have rather a holistic progress card. The first thing is that we are moving away from grades and marks, right? And we have given a simple framework. If you see our holistic progress card at the foundation stage, at the preparatory, middle, and as well as at the secondary, it follows a very simple framework. What is that framework? We have something called the curricular goals. And these curricular goals are totally aligned to the curricular goals that are there in the National Curricular Framework for the foundation stage, and the National Curricular Framework for the school education. And within those curricular goals, we have the competencies listed. That's also from the NCF FS and NCF SE. Now, what we are saying is, given this curricular goal and the competencies, we need to frame the learning outcomes, because the we have the competencies, but we need the learning outcomes, which are the interim markers to find out to what level the competencies have been achieved. And when I'm talking about learning outcome, they are actually, we are combining the competency with the content that I have. So we have the learning outcome, and given the learning outcome, I, as a teacher, I develop an activity. Now, this activity at the foundational stage may be a storytelling activity. At the preparatory stage, maybe I take the children to to a garden and make them visit there. It would be an experiential activity. For the middle stages, it may be I call a community crafts person to come and demonstrate in the classroom the craft that is prevalent in the community. And at the secondary stage, it may be a project work, right? So given that activity and the competency, the learning outcome, I, as a teacher, I prepare the assessment question. And based on the assessment question, we have a 3 by 3 rubric. In that rubric, what you said, we
Yeah.
have the 3 abilities, that is the knowledge, the awareness, the sensitivity, and the creativity. And we have the levels of achievement of the competency. That is, we have the basic,
Basic.
the proficient, and the advanced.
Advanced.
So this 3 by 3 rubrics needs to be created, and these rubrics will have the descriptors. Okay, descriptors of what a child knows and can do, and aligned to the competency. I have to focus. My focus should not shift from the competency. So many a times, at when I give the example of the foundational stage, as a teacher, I may be doing the storytelling, but then I may be doing some other activities, but then I do not align that activity to the competency. In HPC, I'm telling that. I'm telling that you not only have to align it to the competency, whatever you are doing, you also need to have assessment question of during the process of the activity to understand to what extent the competencies has been realized in terms of knowledge, in terms of sensitivity, in terms of creativity, and whether the child is at the beginner level, at the proficient level. Proficient is the grade appropriate, or at the advanced level. So this is the common framework that we have.
Wonderful, ma'am. So, what I gathered is that the activity which is mentioned in the HPC, which teacher has to make, it has to be mapped with the competencies or learning outcome which are mentioned right above that section in the holistic progress card above the activity, and parallelly they have to, taking cues from those competencies, create the rubric with the descriptors of awareness, sensitivity, and creativity for the 3 levels: proficiency, basic, proficiency, and advanced.
Perfect. Yes.
But here, my teachers, sometimes when we sit in a circle, they have a very pertinent question. They get stuck on this thing, that how could it be possible in that 40-minute periods and let's say 210 or 180 days that I can evaluate all the competencies which are mentioned on the top of those activity section in the HPC.
First, in the HPC top section, I have not given the competencies. The competencies, the curricular goals needs to be taken from the National Curricular Framework for the foundation stage. If you are looking at the foundation stage, or you need to take it from the National Curricular Framework for the school education. So, depending on what is it, now this is the empowerment that through HPC we are doing for the teachers.
Yes.
We want that as a teacher, because when I, as a teacher, I am doing the formative assessment, it is I who will decide that which competency do I need to assess. And it's not that you are assessing one competency for all the children in one day. No, not required. You have to understand your classroom. You have to understand your children in the classroom and design the assessment and fill up the HPCs accordingly. If you feel that there are 40 students in my classroom, today I am going to assess to understand more about these 5 children.
Yeah.
So I only fill up for those 5.
Okay.
And then maybe another day for now for one group of students, I may need to assess that competencies maybe twice, maybe thrice. Still, I may not understand to what level the child has reached. But for another child,
Yes.
immediately I can understand.
Yeah.
Right? So, for that child, the number of times would be more. For another child, it will be less. So, we need to understand that HPC is not a standardized assessment, it is a formative assessment. We have given a standard framework for assessment. but the activities are designed by the teacher, the assessment items are being designed by the teacher, the 3 by 3 rubrics is being designed by the teacher. So it is actually the empowerment of the teacher.
Wonderful.
And in this, again, like the competencies also, the competencies are not grade specific. They are stage
Stage
specific. In HPC, we have the 5 stages. HPC, the foundation, the preparatory, the middle, and the secondary. So the same HPC will be used if I'm doing for foundation for Balbatica 1, 2, 3, a grade 1, grade 2. If I'm doing for the preparatory level will be used for 3, 4, 5. So similarly.
Okay, got it, got it. But as it is the teachers' empowerment, because that is going to determine how well they are capable of handling this pressure of 40 or 50 students in a class, the frequency of activities, that indeed calls for empowerment of teachers with an effective support system. So, what Parak has developed so far? Any policy or some framework for supporting teachers or making HPC teacher friendly?
HPC is totally teacher friendly, but then we need to understand that we are talking about a paradigm shift. All these years as a teacher, I was used to, sorry, giving the assessment only from the end of the chapter question. From there, now we are telling no, it has to be competency based. So, the teacher, as a teacher, I have to shift from my comfort zone. I need to do this extra work to understand what are the competencies and how do I map. So this is what Padak is doing at present with the teachers. We have very elaborate teacher training being done, wherein we are working with the teachers to come up with the activities which are mapped to the competencies and to come up with the 3 by 3 rubrics.
Well said, ma'am. Thanks a lot. And I'm sure that with Parak, we are certainly going to have a successful journey on this. And if you're okay, ma'am, we can have a quick rapid fire round.
Sure.
Okay. So, okay, Dr. Baduri, no thinking too long. First thing that comes to mind, ready, get, set, go. HPC in one word.
Student agency.
Paper based or digital.
Digital.
Who need more support? Teachers or parents?
Parents.
Competency or content?
Competency always.
Formal feedback or casual conversations?
Dialogues.
Wow. Most underrated skill in students today.
Reading.
Your,
Reading needs to be emphasized.
your dream outcome of HPC in schools?
Implemented pan India across all school, reaching to each and every child.
I'm sure with your passion, it is going to complete soon. We are able to be successful in that. Thank you so much, Dr. Indrani, for guiding us through the vision and grounded realities of Holistic Progress Card. Finally, what message you would like to give to school leaders and teachers who want to begin this journey but are unsure where to start?
Come and meet us at Parak. We are there to help you.
Wow, wonderful. So, Parak is the destination to go for. Thank you, Dr. Baduri, for reminding us that assessment isn't about more work, it's about meaningful work. The Holistic Progress Card is a mindset shift from finishing the syllabus to seeing the learner fully. Yes, classrooms are busy, but even small intentional steps can bring big change. This is RDIS Unplugged, where conversations spark action. Thanks for tuning in. Until next episode, let's keep moving from policy to practice. Thank you.